Hey everyone, welcome back to my garage. I'm here with a piece of black acacia wood. Um, I've had this wood. It was brought to me by a tree service back in March of 24. Yeah, well over a year ago. And it's pretty much dried out by now, so I want to give this a go. This is actually the wood that was on my lawn for a while that when I was working that heavy wet pieces tore my shoulder up, which forced my surgery earlier this year. Anyway, that's long gone, recovered from that. This piece is 12 inches by 4 at the thickest, 3 at the thinnest. So I have a couple reasons why I have it positioned this way and with a faceplate ring. One, it's going to be exclusively heartwood. Two, it's obviously going to be very out of balance. I got this, what looks to be an old branch or some type of growth through here. I want to get rid of that. I obviously have to level it out, so it's going to be a very rough turning to start. Be turning a lot of air while I get this to a level 3 inches all the way across. Eventually probably be a recess here, but it doesn't really, it shows up a little bit. Inside, it looks like there's some feathering due to whatever this was on both sides, so I want that on the sides of the bowl and on the inside of the bowl, obviously, as it comes up. It should be about 12 by 3 when we're done, but that's the reason. Because of this issue down here not being level, it's got rough turning and all, that's why I'm using the faceplate ring. But I think it should turn out about 12 by 3 in the end, or close to it. It's pretty much stabilized by now, so let's get this on here and start turning. Alright, got her mounted up with tailstock support. Let's get this going. About 456 RPMs, not going to film too much of this until I get this bottom leveled out. This is going to go slow and ugly at first. Sounds like we're touching all surfaces. Nice. Yep. I don't see anywhere we're not touching. Still have to get a little bit more of this branch out because the sapwood's very prone to cracking on this type of wood. And like I said, I wanted it to be all heartwood too. Might leave a little stripe, but I gotta get this part at least out. So we'll go a little down a little more, level out the sides. I gotta level out the top too, because up here it's not level either. Just the edge, so I can establish the sides. But yeah, getting much better. we got a round piece. Just being rough for right now. Oh, got a little bit more to go. I can't tell you how hot that is. Like that's showing. A little light. It is literally burning my hand right there. I'm gonna have to wear some kind of glove. I'm burnt. Yeah, it shows it a little bit. It's fire coming off of there. This wood is hard, but man, it comes off hot. Let me grab this real quick. What do we got? Okay. 2 7/8. So we'll end up with a 12-inch by 2 3/4 inch bowl. All right, did a little more rounding off camera just to get it at a good starting point. I'm going to stop here for a little while. There's that feather I talked about. This is nowhere near obviously the final shape. It's just flat and round and not going to bounce around on me anymore. You can see what I did on the top to level that out as well. That'll all get dug out. Anyhow, I'm going to show you. This was just rough getting it in. You see, I still have some more to turn out where that branch is. Like I said, the sapwood's prone to cracking. You see it there. And it goes on the other side. Yep, there and there. And those will get turned out. And I'll stabilize that probably with some glue right now. And just, I want to take a break. All that rough turning kind of wore me out a little bit. Just wanted to give an update. As you can see, turns nice and true. Move the light around. Now we got a bowl blank we can work with. Like I said, it'll be all heartwood. Start making the shape and moving forward from here when I come back to this, probably tomorrow. Have a good night. All right, I'm back the next day. You can see I threw some CA glue on those cracks to stabilize it. You know, it would be cool to kind of keep this sapwood on the sides right here, but I don't think it's going to stay by the time I get its final shape. Anyhow, let's get this nub off of here. Just making sure I have a new center point. All right, that'll be the recess. lot of shaping for a while. There's my recess still. This will be the base. Yikes. Whatever that branch or growth was, obviously my glue didn't get down deep enough. Hopefully I turned through most of this, but if those cracks are still there, I'll pull it off and really glue it up. But let's keep shaping this. Let's see if it's even necessary first. Slowly but surely taking shape. You know, I've got second thoughts on what I'm going to do here because of this. The deeper I get, everything else I've turned out looks pretty good. This one crack has gotten deeper and bigger, and it concerns me. Obviously, I can pull it off here and fill it up with CA glue. But it concerns me how it goes and follows that branch to that remaining sapwood right there. And if I turn a recess and expand into that, expand into that crack, it's just gonna split right there. You know, if I push from within on that, it'll split my bowl right there. It's a little shallow, but I guess it could still be a dish. I'm gonna think about this a second. I might turn this into a tenon to grab onto. Then I can adjust it when I flip it around after, but the main reason is this crack, figuring out how to deal with that one. Make sure I don't lose the bowl, but otherwise it's taking shape nicely. All right, I'm back after a little break, and yeah, I'm changing directions. I stuck something down there and it goes down at least 1/4 of an inch. I just can't trust it with the recess that this comes down more and it won't split. So I marked out for a 3 3/8 inch tenon right there. I'll leave the base, which is 4 3/4 inch, or the foot. I'm just gonna have to lose some of that depth. It is what it is. Turn it more into a platter or a dish than a bowl. But that crack and this weakness through the wood right here, that's what's determining the change. And yes, I know what I'm doing is unsupported. I'm going against it right now. But yeah, that crack goes down. Anyway, this will be the tenon and this will be the foot. I'll bring it back as I get that resized and positioned. Yep, 3 3/8 inch tenon, perfectly flat, 1/4 inch deep, dovetailed. So that should hold. There's no cracks through there. And actually, I think, oh, there it is. Yeah, it stops right there. So I'm gonna tie up the base off camera, and then we'll get back to fixing the outside of the bowl and fixing the shape. There's a tenon, and this will be the foot. See where we're at. There's a little line right there for my transition. Whew, that crack is almost gone. I almost figure at this point, I've taken so much off, why not just get rid of the rest of it, right? Tenon's good, base is good. Nice and level. Just that little bit of a crack. Yeah, it's gonna be 11.5 by 2.5 once I get this tenon off of here. But yeah, still good size. We'll keep going on this. Not sure what happened, but I didn't film the finishing cuts from the top. You saw me do the finishing cut up to here, and it came down here, and it came back this way, and it looks a little different right now because I did a shear scrape to blend it in. It's smooth. You see the color difference between the 3/8 inch bowl gouge to here, 3/8 inch bowl gouge to here, and then right here, shear scraped with the 3/8 inch. But I don't know what happened to that, but this is the bowl right now. So I'm gonna get cleaned up, and I'm gonna sand this thing in the backside, put sanding sealer on it, I'm sure, because I'm not sure when I'll get to the middle of this. Got my center marked, but that tenon will eventually come off, right? Trying to see. Yeah, crack, I got through the crack finally. It's completely gone. This was what was underneath it. A little interesting. But there's no sign of any of those cracks, so I got through it all, so it's all good. Anyhow, I'll bring it back when I'm done sanding. Got my mask on, but it's like glass. Send it forward and reverse, 120 up to 600. Perfect surface. Alright, there it is. I'll do two coats of sanding sealer, and then whenever I come back to this, I'll flip around and dig out the inside of the bowl. All right, welcome back to the garage. It's been 7 or 8 days, I don't remember which, since I've been out here turning this. Brought it inside the house with me so it wouldn't be any kind of issue. As you can see, it still looks great. But let's get in, before I get it on here and flip it around, let's see where we're at, just to be sure. That's why I left the faceplate on. You never know what could happen when you take that kind of time off between turnings. Let me get out of the line of fire, see where we're at. All right, perfect. Look at that. It might have shifted fractionally. I'll clean up this tenon just in case, but out here on the rim, it's perfectly true and round. No bumps, no nothing. So maybe the slightest right there, but all here, perfectly true. Awesome. Stood the test of time. You know, I've said it before, but look at that, amazing grain. Turning wet wood, green wood is so much fun and super easy, but it's gonna crack, it's gonna move. All this had was, I sanded it, put a sanding sealer on it, and it's been 7, 8 days. Come out here and it's still turning true. No cracks, no issues, nothing to deal with. You know, God willing that the inside of the bowl will go fine, but this should stand the test of time. It should outlive me by generations, and it's not going to change. It's not going to move because I took the time and dried out this wood. Happy. I'm happy it didn't move. I was worried about it after so much time in the house. Anyhow, let me get this flipped around and we'll start on the inside. Well, I touched up the tenon off camera, flipped it around. You're not going to believe what I did. I dropped it on the bed. Chunk. It's not deep, and obviously I haven't even done the abrasive paste yet, but after I finish the inside of the bowl, I'm going to have to come back to that mistake. Sure enough, I would have fucked it up. Anyhow, let's get you back over here. We'll work on, now it's in the chuck and the jaws, work on getting this flat. It's going to be ugly at first because this is very out of balance because of the middle piece. So I'll just show a little bit of that. Gotta get this back in balance again for this side. I have a strong tenon, so I'm not too worried about it, but obviously I'm pushing in towards it versus sideways. Being rough right now, but once we hog that out, we'll be a little more gentle. Anyway, bring it back when I get on to the next step. All right, got it leveled off. It's, now that I've established this, it's 11 3/4 long, 2 3/8 inch deep. So to make life easier on myself, because this wood's so hard and it's coming off hot, I'm going to take out the center. I'm going to go 2 inches deep with this Forstner bit, just to make life a little bit easier on me. And you can see, still running absolutely true. All right, just resharpening up my gouge. Depth's pretty much established, as is the rim. So now it's about just removing material. taking it all down just about an inch or so, a little bit more here. I got a 3/8 inch wall established with 1.5 inches down. So I thought I'd bring it back. Obviously I'm gonna go thinner than this, but I wanted to, rather than just show you the hogging out, I'll bring it back to what's important here. I still have my larger bowl gouge. That's roughly just under 1/4 inch, right? Go into a different, finer bowl gouge. Fresh tip. And then make sure we get this refined so I don't have to come up here. In case once the center weight comes out, it starts flexing as it turns. I don't want to have to come up here. So I'm going to establish a rim, get a nice clean surface. A little low. You can hear it starting to chatter. Yep. You can kind of see it in the grain, but it's a, let's see. Oh, it's 1/4 inch still, so I got room to go. I want to go thin, but it's 1/4 inch and that's starting to chatter. Got a nice clean surface, so the wood's being loud, so you gotta, oh, there's a little bit of that chatter. You gotta listen to it. Make some adjustments. That feels and sounds perfect. Let's see. Got the rim established with a slight angle in towards the bowl. I'm just looking. Looks like a perfect surface. Going an inch and a half down maybe. So now I can come back to this bulk. And I don't have to come back up to these rims. It could flex all at once. But this top, I don't know. What do we got? 1.25 inches. My top 1.25 inch is ready for sanding. It's a good enough surface. Could probably start at 120 or 180. And so we would just under 1/4. So what, 3/16 inch depth? We'll try to hold that throughout. Let's make sure it's uniform. Ooh, that gets thin. I gotta take that angle a little sharper. I got thin. Good thing I checked. Always use calipers. It gets a little thin. It's gotta curve this way, so I'm as deep as I can go right there. Anyway, again, adjust. Okay, hogged another section of material away, still have a center mass. I gotta be careful with this transition because I got, what is it, 3/16, and it was getting close to 1/8 of an inch there. So I've been really careful, but let me clean some of this out next. All right, I've come back, I've got this a little fixed here, but it's the transition I'm worried about. Wasn't watching my curve enough. I got 3/16 of an inch here and here, but it gets a little thin right here at the transition. So I'm gonna use my negative rake scraper to try to get it as close as I can, but I'm not gonna be very aggressive at here. Even if there's a line, I'll end up just fixing and sanding because I don't wanna go thinner than that 1/8 of an inch. It'll just get too dangerous. I don't wanna lose the bowl. I'm almost there. I can barely feel it, barely see it right there. Yep. So the negative rake scraper gets me as close as I need to be. The rest will be done with sanding right there, and then I can pick up the bowl gouge about right here and maintain my depth. I just didn't follow that curve closely enough. It was a little, not paying enough attention. So we'll fix it, we'll save it. All right, I took another pass at that transition to the curve off camera, and that did the trick. It's you can't even notice. You use a caliper, it goes from 3/16 to 1/8 back to 3/16. This last part I'll clean up, but it's just back to hogging the mass out of the middle. I'll bring you back as we get closer. All right, I just sharpened up again, got most of the bulk away. There's the center, so just gotta get this last little part and then we can fine tune it. I still got a 1/2 inch down there. Just was making some noise, so better safe than sorry, but I still got a 1/2 inch through here. So keep working it down. I think we got it. Let's see where we're at. I gotta get it off. It's a little thicker where the lip is, or the foundation, the foot. Got a little bit more, and then there's my depth right there, back to 3/16. So a little bit more right through here to the bottom. I think one more pass and then I'll use my negative rake scraper and we'll be ready for sanding. I'll clean up this bottom. That was pushing a little hard. There's a lot of dust in there. I don't know if you see the spiral pattern in there. It's pushing a little too hard. Clean up that with a negative rake scraper, like I said. Pretty good. We got a bottom of the bowl. Yep, happy with that. I still got my face mask on, so hopefully you can hear me.
sanding it up to 600 inside and a little bit outside. You just use this to brush dust off and burnish it a little bit. You can see glass smooth just like the outside was, absolutely flawless. See if I can move it around a little. You can see, because I had dropped it on the bed lathe, I sanded the outside, what, 1.5 inches. This is sanding sealer, and I just kind of blended it in, went back up to 600. You see, absolutely true. Still spinning, absolutely true. Bring it back over here. Bring it back over. So 3/8 of an inch, although it gets a little thin right here because I took the curve on. And then 3/8 of an inch, or no, 3/16 of an inch, I'm sorry, 3/16 of an inch. Gets to 1/8 of an inch thin there, and back to 3/8 of an inch. Glass smooth, absolutely true, absolutely flawless. So, time for sanding sealer.
Alright, just like the outside of the bowl, we go with 2 coats of sanding sealer on this. God, this is beautiful work. See if it lights up again. Yep, look at that. Goes dark and then lights up. I love that in the grain. Just like the outside of the bowl. It's amazing. Alright. I'll get the outside of the bowl off camera where I showed you where I sanded. Yeah, 2 coats of that. It's late, so hopefully tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, I'll come back and do the Axe abrasive paste and polish. Good night. All right, time to get to the finish. Got this rubbed in already. Let's keep going. There we go. Let's check it out. Beautiful, huh? Flawless. Onto the wax. All right, I got the wax polish rubbed in and hit both sides at once. There we go. Alright. That should do it. Get you the best look. That's basically the bowl. I'm gonna grab something else real quick. Just in case my hands have any dirt on them. Ooh, this is light. Light as a feather. Wow. I can hold it from the bottom now. Wow. I'm gonna have to weigh this later when it's done. Absolutely pristine. You can see all that's left is the dreaded tenon to take off at the end. I still hate that last step sometimes. I get so nervous that I'll screw it up at the 11th hour. Look at that. And it takes the light. This is super, super light though. Like I told you, I went really thin. Look at that though. Flawless finish. Absolutely gorgeous. All right. It's gonna be a few days before I get to this because I'm busy with other things, but very happy with this. I'll bring it inside. We'll come back, I don't know, whenever I got the time, and get this tenon off of here. All right, have a good night. All right, welcome back to the garage. It's been another week. I'm turning into a weekend turner here. Anyhow, I'm back with this bowl. I just wanted to get a weight on it because I was curious. 228 grams, and that's still with the foot. I guess in a way, it worked out good that it's been a week, as it gave me some time to take another look and think about this. And as beautiful as it is, I kind of screwed up. I continued this beautiful slope all the way down to the bottom, and it keeps going down. The problem with that is, if you can see here, when I measure the depth to here, I estimate if once I turn this tenon off, I'm gonna have about a dime size hole in the bottom if my measurements are right. Can't have that happen. And that's a flat foot, which is no good because you gotta make it concave, right? So unfortunately, I gotta switch plans and adjust and adapt, and I'm gonna have to use this tenon as a part of the bottom of the bowl, which I didn't really want to do. One, it's not as wide as I'd like it if it's going to be included in the bottom, but I really have no choice, because if I turn this off, I'll have that little hole, and if I make it concave so it sits flat around this edge, I'll have a bigger hole, and I'm not going to lose this perfectly turned bowl. Other than that, I'm not going to turn this into a lampshade. So I have no choice but to utilize this into the bottom. Not sure exactly what I'm gonna do or how I'm gonna do it, but I gotta clean up the edge. I wanna leave as much width as possible. Maybe it's too tall right now, so maybe take that down somewhere around 50% and make a true bottom of the bowl where it's concave here, and I'll be able to set my medallion thing in the middle, but I'll figure it out as I go. The first step is to get it mounted up here on a jam chuck and try to get this turning as balanced as possible, which, you know, can be difficult, even though you mark the center. That's, at this point, it's all I can do, because like I said, I'm gonna save this whatever it takes and just hope the end product looks as good as I hope it will, because yeah, I'm not gonna go through the bottom if I can help it. Anyhow, let me get it mounted up and we'll see what we can do. I've screwed with it forever. I can't get it perfectly aligned, but as you can see, it's as close as possible, so just got to move forward. Just keep bringing this down, making it level without going through. I just could not get happy with that I just couldn't get it lined up perfectly, so I changed to different live center. Just need to clean that surface up a little bit, and then I'll sand the bottom on the lathe. This piece, the new foot, as well as the concave part, and then that little nub. I'm not even going to bother taking that off. I'll just go to the drill press, and I'll show you when I drill for the medallion, but it'll barely be any depth to that. Yeah, just got to clean up this surface a little bit, and then we'll sand it. Hopefully it looks good when it comes off. It's not perfect, but it should save the bowl. All right. Sanded the bottom up to 600. Match the rest of the bowl. I'm going to finish the bottom differently with walnut oil after I drill in that thing, but just wanted to show you where we're at. Yep, same beautiful bowl. There's that light flash as it moves. Just did the best I could with this foot. It's a lot more narrow than I prefer, but luckily it's not a high bowl. I forget the dimensions. It was like 11 3/4 inch wide. It was 2 1/4 inch deep, but with this new foot, it'll be 2.5 inches. But still, it's wide, but it's low. So hopefully, this stands true. But anyhow, next step over at the drill press. Just mixing up the epoxy. I'm going to put it on first this time, and then I'll tape over it and do the walnut oil finish on the bottom. Apologize for the super long video, but I mean, this is the process. Fast forward, use it to fall asleep, whatever you want. I just appreciate you watching and hoping this turns out. So far so good. I do like how it looks, and it sits well, it balances well. I obviously tested that out to be sure. Not the foot I had planned on, imagined, but in the end it's not a bad thing. All right. I never show this step, so nothing to it really. It's nice and flush. So let that dry for, probably let that dry for an hour. Leave it here on the lathe, let it dry for an hour, and then we'll come back and put a walnut oil on the bottom, and then it'll be a done deal. So at least it's saved. It's a good looking bowl. Have a good night. Didn't realize my arm's been blocking it, so I switched sides. And Mahoney's walnut oil. It'll blend right in. Once this cures, in a couple days, I'll do the wax as well. And you'll see the bottom. I've done this with cedar bowls, you name it. It's not the same, right? It doesn't have that X polish and everything that goes along with that, but you won't be able to tell the difference. It'll blend right in. So anyway, just showing a little bit of the last step. I'll do this carefully and get the edges so I don't smear it too much. I'll clean up where I get it on the wax, just so it doesn't stain. But there's my arm again. So I got to do a better job getting it on the sides and stuff off of camera, but you got the gist of it. I'll bring it back in a couple days when after I put the wax on and let that cure and dry, and we'll have the finished bowl. All right, I'm back with the final bowl. This black acacia just has some amazing grain. Here's the final weight. Just amazing how this grain works. Very happy with the bowl. Could have been better with the foot, but we all know that story. Had to adapt, make it work. So this is obviously Mahoney's walnut oil. It's not quite as shiny, obviously, because I didn't use the friction polish on the bottom, but it blends in. It's good. And it sits, because this is only what, 2 1/4, 2.5 inches deep. It's low, sits solid. As I bounce it, sits nice and solid. Nice little fruit bowl, table bowl, centerpiece for a friend, a couple of friends who build in their retirement home. So this is a gift to them. Hopefully they enjoy it. I know this will outlive me, but it's a beautiful bowl. Really appreciate you guys if you stayed around and watched this to the end. Let me know what you think about it. Give me your comments, feedback, whatever. But really, thanks again for watching. See you next time.